The following is a presentation of the WMCX talk show series. The opinions and statements expressed do not necessarily reflect those of the WMCX, the Communication Department, or Monmouth University.
Dear Diary.
Dear Diary.
Dear Diary.
Dear Diary.
Journal entry number 1.
And this is Dear Diary.
Hello. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. We're almost done with the week.
Yeah.
I can
almost.
taste the end.
It's Friday Eve.
Friday Eve, yes, exactly. I like that. I'm going to use that more often.
Yeah. Guys, we are so excited
I'm
for this
pumped.
week's
I'm really
journal
pumped.
entry.
Yeah.
It's on the spookier side.
Woo! Woo, woo, woo.
This week for Dear Diary, our theme is paranormal stories.
Ooh, spooky.
Spooky. I'm so excited.
Yes, I am too.
Love paranormal stuff. Like, I have a love-hate relationship with it. It's very intriguing to me.
Respectful fear?
Respectful fear.
Got it.
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Mhm.
Me too. I'm like intrigued until like it starts happening to me. Then I'm like, yeah, no, I'm maybe
Right.
not that much into it.
Like, truthfully, last night we were talking about sleep paralysis, and
Yeah.
then I had anxiety going to bed. Like, it's a respectful
Yes.
fear.
I'm in agreement with you. I get scared over like that stuff too, like sleep paralysis, all that, like, you know, stuff that's associated with like paranormal activity.
Yeah. But we're going to start off the show today. Dan, do you have a story that you would like to tell all of
I
us?
do have
Okay.
a story I would like to tell. So this one is from, I don't know, like this was just like a family story. So my aunt, she used to live in my grandmother's house. It's just to describe it, like my grandmother's house is like really old, like 1800s kind of era. So it has like all the skeleton keyholes still in it, like original wood. Like it is, you know, like even when the house, there's no one in it, like the house settles so much, it sounds like there's like a million like people walking through it. It's really creepy. But so this was when my aunt was younger. She was about like 12 or 13, and she was in her room at my grandmother's house, and she pretty much was going to sleep, and we had a dog named Lady. So Lady would sleep with my aunt. And so when my aunt finally fell asleep, she heard, she just kind of felt uneasy. You know that feeling like that you're not alone? So she felt really uneasy, and so she opened her eyes, and she saw these like two red, like dark eyes like staring at her, and it was like pitch black in her room. So like the way she was describing it is like you could literally only see the eyes. So of course, like as a 12-year-old, like at any age I would be freaking out. So she like started freaking out, and then she turned to the other side to get another, like, you know, to like get away and not see those red eyes. And she opened it again, her eyes again, and she saw them staring at her. So at this point, like, she's like, okay, like this is actually scary. So then Lady at the end of the bed, she started barking, like, but like almost like barking, like staring at someone. So she started barking, and like my aunt yelled at her to, like, you know, be quiet, it's like late at night or whatever. And so she yells at her, and while she's doing that, like, she just got this super uncomfortable feeling in the air, like something was gonna like bad was gonna happen. And so at the end of the bed, Lady, as she kept barking, at the end of my aunt's bed, like it was almost like an indent of like someone jumping at the end of the bed, like if someone was just jumping on the bed, like for fun. And the whole bed started to shake, and like the door like started to open and close and stuff, and like Lady was just like barking insanely, like wouldn't stop. So my aunt grabbed the dog, and she like ran out of the room and never like looked back, and then she had to sleep there for like the rest of her life.
I don't think I'd ever sleep again.
Me neither. Me neither.
That is actually, I don't even think that they would think to put that in a scary movie. Like, that
No.
is beyond.
Yeah.
Like,
Isn't it crazy?
That's wild.
I had like I have some other stories from me that I've experienced at my grandmother's house that I will be telling later. But yeah, no, that's just like that's like straight up Conjuring stuff. You know?
Like
Stuff you see in the
that's like
movies.
not friendly ghost. That's
No.
not Casper.
No, that's definitely not Casper.
I wonder like what happened on those grounds.
Oh, I would love to know. One time, me and my cousin, like, we decided to like try and do research, and we couldn't find anything. Like, but the house, like, unlike the insurance and stuff, like, it says it was built in like I think like 1868 or something. So like the house definitely has history to it. I just don't know what it is. Like, we found a Civil War jacket in my grandmother's attic. It was pretty
Wow.
cool. Yeah.
It's wild too because especially like where it's located,
Yeah.
like in Pennsylvania, like in the middle of nowhere, like it's got to be what a few miles till her neighbor. How far is
yeah. I mean, it's definitely like her property size is like around 100 acres. So like when we go down this driveway to go to her house, it's like almost a mile long before you get to the house. So like her nearest neighbor, like you can definitely get to her nearest neighbor, but they are in such a like, I always mess this up, rural
rural?
area that I don't know. She has houses on the property though, so like she does have like tenants, if you could say, on the if she really needed to
Yeah.
run somewhere, but she doesn't care.
But even so, like before she started renting it to tenants, like back in the 1800s, even like the 1900s, like people have most definitely died in that house, especially since it's so far
Yeah.
from the rest of civilization.
Yes.
Like people had to have, there has to have been like multiple people that have died.
Easily. And like even the house like itself, like it has like I guess you could call it like maid corridor. Like it has that side piece of the house where like the maid would have stayed, and it has its own bathroom. That's the room that the creepy thing happened in. So I think the maid was a little upset.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild. That's really nervous.
Mm.
Remind me to never come to your grandma's house.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll remind you.
All right, let's move on to our next segment, our newest segment here on the show.
Okay. Shall we play that new intro?
Yes, we shall.
Alrighty.
And this is That's So College.
That's so.
That's so college. That's so college. That's so college. That's so college. WMCX.
I worked hard on that, okay?
Peep that new intro.
Yeah.
Peep it.
Peep it. Peep it, okay?
That is so hilarious. I love it. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you. I worked hard on it. Like I said, like when we were working on it a couple of days ago, like I was just like, I need to do this. Like it was my calling. When I got that idea for That's So College, I was like, That's So Raven.
Right.
Absolutely. I'll probably get sued by Disney Plus, but you know what?
They're definitely not
Paying
bothered.
attention, they're not listening to us.
listening,
All right, that's
so.
rude, but whatever. But explain what's That's So College.
Okay, so we will take scenarios from our own lives or from lives of people that send us stories, and we will tell scenarios, and halfway through the story, we give each other options of how the story ends, and we have to guess. So I'll go first. So this was, I don't know, maybe like 2-ish plus years ago now. I was in the city visiting my best friend, and usually we like to go out when we visit. And I don't know what happened. Usually we would stay the whole weekend. So, like, me and my other friend, we would have bags.
Okay.
Like, not just like one duffel
Yeah,
bag.
yeah,
like,
yeah,
we
yeah.
would have
like you went on
bags.
vacation.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
And we would take the bus to the city.
Wow.
So just
Such
imagine-
a city girl.
oh yeah. So just imagine us like lugging all of our bags on and off the bus. And it's like awkward too because you don't want to like hit someone in the face with your bag.
Getting off a bus is very awkward.
Yeah, really awkward. So I don't know what happened, but and then we had to walk a few blocks from the subway to get to her dorm.
Okay.
And I don't know what happened, but when I got back in the room and put down my bags, my back started hurting, like a pain I've never ever experienced, or at least a pain I didn't think I would ever experience until I was old.
Yeah.
But I could not believe it. I thought I pulled my back out. That's how badly it hurt.
Yeah.
I'm like, what is going on right now? So I got through the day. It wasn't that bad. And then I think what really did me dirty was I slept on an air mattress that night.
Oof.
And I woke up the next morning and I was not a happy camper at all. And so I was miserable and the pain just increased throughout the day. I really genuinely thought I pulled my back out.
Yeah.
And it's getting nighttime again, whatever, and we were going to go for round 2, go out again that night, like Saturday night, and I was so miserable, and everyone around me could tell. They were like, are you sure you want to go out?
Yeah.
And of course, I didn't want to be the party pooper.
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't feel well. Like, I don't want to go out. I really didn't want to go out because I was so miserable.
Yeah.
But I was not going to be the one to be like, yeah, no, let's not go out, especially since we made the trip. But do you think, I'm going to give you my scenarios now.
Okay.
Do you think that I, A, just sucked it up, went out, B, decided to stay in, or C, had to go to the doctor because I was in so much pain?
I'm knowing you, and obviously we have gone out together. You're a trooper, so I'm gonna go with A. I'm gonna say you still went out. Really? You went to the doctor's?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You really are a party pooper, huh?
No, I'm completely lying. It was A.
It was A? Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. I was like, come on, Nicole. I know you don't play around when you go out.
I ended up going out. I put on a pair of my friend's like really chunky heels.
Yeah.
And they weren't like too bad, and it wasn't like terrible on my back. And then of course, drinking helped too. I don't know how I went from being in excruciating pain to being out and like being okay, like not
Well,
even noticing the back pain.
At least something good came out of drinking, right?
Right. I honestly really do think it was the alcohol, because then the next day my back went back to hurting. Like, my friends had to carry my bags for me when we went back to the subway. Like, that's how like much in pain I was. Come to find out, I didn't pull out my back. I just had a really nasty knot that like got inflamed.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Jeez Louise.
Yeah.
You're an old lady, huh?
I'm very stressed.
Yeah.
Apparently.
Yeah, you are. Yeah, I get the knots too, like especially during like finals week, like it's like cramp city.
Yeah. I could never do a deep tissue massage because I think I would be crying in pain the whole time.
Yeah, I think I would cry too. Like at least one tear would fall down my face for sure.
Oh, for sure.
That is a good one, Nicole. That's a good one. All right. Ready for mine?
Yeah.
Okay. So me and my 2 friends from home, we used to like playing the Ouija board.
Oof.
Yeah. Yeah, dumb decision, right? But I don't know. We went through this like summer, like it was like the summer of like 2018. Like we just constantly played it all the time. Like when we were bored, we would just pull it out and just be like, all right, come on, like spirits, like someone talk to us, you know? We didn't have many friends to talk to. So what we did was one night, over the course of us playing the Ouija board, some things were happening individually to us and also all together as a group that were a little off-putting, I would say. Like, just little things, like, I don't know, like the uneasy feeling of someone watching us, or like, you know, like a light turning off, or hearing like voices, you know, just the light stuff.
Yeah.
But so one night we were at my friend's house and we decided to play the Ouija board again. And that night was just weird. Like, do you know when like you just have those nights where it's like just uneasy, like vibes, I guess you could say, or like an aura, like unsettling? You know what I mean? Like when you're in, like, say you're in your place at your house and you're like alone and like you kind of feel like something's there.
Yeah.
You know, even it all goes aside. Like, say you feel like a person's watching you,
Right.
like that kind of feeling. So we were playing the Ouija board anyways, and nothing happened really that bad. So we were like, okay, whatever. We go to the kitchen. I'm making food, and I'm with her older brother, and we're standing at the kitchen island, and I, till this day, swear that, like, I saw a shadow of, like, it looked like a full-size human being, like, walking towards me. And I didn't even freak out because I actually thought it was one of my friends, and I look up, and they're both sitting on the sofa. So I'm like, okay, like, that was really weird. So I just kind of let it go. And then this part is where my options are going to come up right now. So we all get up in unison to go to the kitchen, and we're just casually talking because we were kind of like, it was like towards the end of the night, so we're kind of like just finishing off our conversation. And we look up, and her chandelier in her kitchen was full on swinging by itself. Like, full on, like that, like if there was an earthquake in her home. So we all looked at each other like, did that actually really happen, or was that just in our heads? And once I looked at everyone and they were like in unison, like confirmation that, you know, that happened, what do you think I did? A, do you think I got up and ran out the house? B, do you think I stayed because I was intrigued? Or C, do you think we all just ran out together and never came back until the next day?
Ooh. I'm gonna ixnay A, because I don't think that you would run out of the house by yourself.
Okay.
Because then where would you go? But then also, too, you've had a lot of, like, paranormal activity happen in your life. So I feel like partly, like, you wouldn't be so bothered by it. Well, not, like, bothered, but almost kind of like you're used to it a little bit. So I could definitely see you staying because you're intrigued. Or you all left. I don't know if I could see it getting that dramatic. But then it wasn't your house, so maybe the girl who thought I'm gonna go out on a limb because I really am not sure, and I'm gonna say B, you stayed because you were intrigued.
That is incorrect. It was A. I got up and I left.
And everyone else stayed?
No, my other friend left too, but obviously my one friend that was living in that house, like, she just like stayed. She just went upstairs to her room. But like,
wait, was this like a house like in your town? Like,
yes.
You just went home?
Yeah, I drove home.
Oh.
I was freaked out. Like you know when like you're shaking?
Right.
Like, because with my paranormal stories, it's never like I'll see things, but I've never experienced something like that, like where it's like physically moving and it looks like angry in a way. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
If a book fell over, it's like, all right, like something was there, but they just tossed the book down. Like, it looked like someone had grabbed onto the chandelier
like
and was
full
just
Miley Cyrus?
Yes, like just
Okay.
swinging like back and forth. It was insane.
That honestly, I think I would have done the same if I were you.
I think I
just get up and leave.
Yeah, I think I had to change my underwear when I got home. You know?
Wow.
Yeah.
For some reason, and I don't know. I feel like you've told me this story like a long time
Yes.
ago, and I just don't remember.
It unlocked a memory for you.
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like I remember that.
Mm-hmm. Creepy
All right.
story, but
Well, that was a nice little
Yeah.
scenario.
mm-hmm.
That's so college, you guys.
That's so college. That's so
WSCX.
That is so ridiculous. I love it
Iconic.
too much.
Mhm.
It's really iconic. But now we're gonna move on to our little game, our favorite game,
our favorite
most favorite
our
game.
favorite game.
Red light, red light, red light, red light!
You're listening to WMCS
Excuse me, technical
88.9,
difficulties.
Monmouth University's official radio station.
Red light, red light, red light, red light!
We had some technical difficulties, but we are back.
Yeah.
Red light, green light. Nicole, you know what? I think I'm gonna explain it. Red
Okay.
light, green light.
Yeah.
A quick segment. So pretty much what we do is me and Nicole will exchange stories, and we either red light the story. So if Nicole's telling it, I would either red light it, which means I don't like it, or if I green light it, that means she told a story like a professional storyteller, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, you got my message. You got what I said. So Nicole, do you want to start this one off?
Yeah.
Okay.
As per usual, we got some very nice entries
Yeah.
from listeners, and we're always very grateful for you guys that send us stories. If you want to send us stories whenever, we're on Instagram, Dear Diary 88.9. You can DM us, whatever you guys want. You can email us at Dear Diary, whichever you like. We
Yeah.
are always here to listen to your stories.
We love it.
But the first story that I got was actually a friend of a friend, and it's a little bit on a dark note and a light note.
Okay.
But she says, "Hi, I'm friend, and my friend got killed in a car accident a few years ago, and I normally never drive past the spot that it happened. But over the summer, I drove past the spot, and the cross that hangs from my dashboard mirror started swinging and moving a lot. It was super weird. And it felt like my stomach had turned because I was like, what is going on? This is crazy. And then just started uncontrollably crying."
Well, geez Louise. First of all, that's sad. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah.
Secondly, that is very weird. I'm going to have to give that a red light, though, unfortunately. I needed more. Like, I wanted to know what happened. Like, what does she mean by the dashboard mirror? Like, the mirror that's in the middle?
No. The cross.
The cross.
Yeah, I said,
Oh, like she has like a
yeah,
a
I
rose-
drove past the spot and the cross that hangs from my dashboard.
Oh, okay. I was not associating cross for some reason. I was literally thinking of like an X. I'm like, where in the car?
No.
Okay, that
No,
is a
no,
little
no.
unsettling.
Yeah.
Maybe her friend was just trying to say hey.
Yeah. I mean, part of me is, I mean, it's a very touching story, but also part of me feels like, was it really that? Or
Yeah.
did she just drive over a bump?
Well, yeah. You are a different breed. Let me tell you that.
Well,
Sorry, I
I
have
mean,
a
she
cold.
didn't specify if she was in Parker and Drive. So if she was in Drive, wow, I'm really making you upset over there,
Yeah,
aren't
like
I?
I can't stop coughing. I'm so sorry. I have to like get one more cough out. Can you guys like just excuse me? Just to let everyone know, I do not have COVID-19. I just got my results yesterday. It's just a common cold, but I'm just trying to talk to maybe settle like what's in the back of my like throat.
Yeah. Do you have like water? Can you? Okay. Oh.
There we go. I mean, stop making me laugh because I'm just gonna cough more.
Okay,
I'll get
everyone
hurt.
look away so he doesn't feel
Yeah,
pressured.
look away.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
gonna move on.
Yeah, we're gonna move on from that one. Maybe she was looking for a sign. Sometimes like grief can make you think some crazy things.
Right. All right. I am going to move on to actually a story that my cousin sent me. And she actually has told me this story before. It's actually 2 separate stories, very short though.
Okay.
So she says, so one time I was home alone with my mom and we heard a bang in our basement, like someone breaking into our basement window. And my mom went down there with a knife, for protection.
Yeah.
And she didn't see anything and they were confused. So they get in the car to go to a graduation party and they're in the car in the garage, but all the garage doors are open and they both saw a ball thrown across the garage and they started freaking out like someone was there. The mom reversed out, got out of the car, and they didn't see any ball in the garage. Like they couldn't find the ball that they both saw flung across. Isn't that weird?
That is very weird.
That's kind of terrifying.
Yeah. Imagine like they like put on their reverse camera and they like just see someone like standing there.
Ooh.
Yeah. No,
don't
that
like
is
that.
that is super unsettling.
Yeah.
It actually reminds me just before I continue on my tangent, green light. I like the story. There was someone on TikTok that had a Tesla, and I guess the Teslas have like sensors pretty much all around the car because it's like autopilot. And they were like sitting in a cemetery, and like I guess on the Tesla screen you can like kind of see when a pedestrian is like in the, on the sensors, it's getting captured. And him and his girlfriend were sitting in the Tesla in a cemetery, and like on the display, all they could see were like people standing around them.
Ooh.
Yeah, isn't that creepy? It was recognizing like a lot of people at the same time, and there was no one there. So.
Well,
And then they're saying like Tesla like should be used in like paranormal activity hunts
I
now.
mean, technically there were people there if they're at a cemetery. Like, I'm
They're-
just saying.
They're
I'm
just not
saying.
alive.
Like,
They're 6 feet under.
Because I'm trying to play devil's advocate, no pun intended.
Yes.
With, like, the logical side of things.
But they were moving. That's the thing. Like the people were moving. Like in the camera, that's what it just wasn't like a stationary thing where it just like it was like one person standing there. It was like they were actively like the
Gotcha.
like the pedestrian, aka ghost, were
Right.
like moving around. Obviously, it's TikTok, so we don't know how true it could
be a
but-
quick Adobe After Effects.
Yeah, quick Adobe After Effect, you slap that on there. But the weird thing was that other people started to do it, and it was working for them. So I don't know if there's like some Tesla trick that you can do, because like I know that there's like tricks you can put like the fart noise, like when someone sits down in the passenger, like is like a whoopee cushion effect. So like
Really?
yeah, they have a lot of like quirky stuff you can do in that car.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay, I have another really, really short one.
Okay.
It's kind of like the same theme, I guess.
As the first one.
Of the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this again is like my cousin, and she said that there was a time where my other cousin came to visit me, and they were hanging out and they went in their separate rooms at night to go to bed. And my one cousin was laying in her bed and she heard a faint scream and thought it was my other cousin. So she texted her saying, like, are you okay? Like, was that you screaming? And she texted her back saying, I thought it was you screaming. And they both got so scared that they just slept in the same bed.
I would have done the same thing. That is very creepy. Green light that. That's alarming.
Like, what?
Like, why do you have to interrupt my sleep and scream?
Right.
Like, that's my main concern. Just kidding. That's not my main concern. I'm terrified. I would literally, I think I would faint. So, I mean, maybe that would be my best bet.
That's so weird. I don't think I'd be able to, like, mentally handle it.
I don't think I would be able to either.
I, knock on wood, thank God that I haven't had really, like, many encounters. And
This is going to jinx you.
Thank you, Lord, because I don't think I'd be able to. I don't think my body could handle the stress of it. I think I'd actually
You'd explode.
have a breakdown.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Do you have one?
I do. So this one's a grandma one. I actually have two grandmother ones, but I'm going to close out with a really good one. So I'm going to tell the little one now.
Okay.
So, pretty much what had happened was on my grandmother's property, there's two other houses. I'm going to assume, since they kind of look like they're in the same time frame, that they were built around the same time, like that my grandmother's main house was built. So back then, obviously, they didn't have, fridges or, modern day technology that we take for granted every day. They had like houses that were dedicated to like fridges. So like they'd call them like the ice house or the box or the ice box, something like that. And they were just dedicated to literally having blocks of ice in them. And that's how they kept their food cold. So back in the day when my grandmother's house, I guess, was originally built, there's one house in the middle that seems like a guest home. And then there's a house next to it that's more of a cottage style. The cottage style one back then was used as the ice box for their food. The only people that knew that were like pretty much my grandparents and maybe a couple other people, but the neighbors, like, we don't, when they move in, we're not like, hi, yeah, this used to be an ice box, just make sure, nothing scary happens to you. So we had neighbors there that were living there for almost, like, I would say 15 years. They were long tenants. And what had happened was it was funny the way coincidences work, because I like asking my grandma, like, about the history of the house. Like, I'm always been intrigued about it. And she told me that back in the day, like, the neighbor's house, the cottage, used to be, the icebox when they needed to store food and stuff. So I went over the neighbor's house because we pretty much became like very close, like family friends. And I came over there and we were just talking about like scary stories and stuff because I love listening to them. And the neighbor, he was an older guy. He told me about one that he experienced like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, ooh, I love like a fresh ghost story. So he told me that he was in the basement getting something out of there. I don't know if it was like a tool or something. And he turned around to leave because he felt like something was there. He turns around and sees an older gentleman in like 1800s era type of clothing. And obviously he already said he was freaked out by that, but he's like, what was even weirder was that the guy looked like he was freezing to death. Like he looked cold. I'm getting chills actually as I'm telling this. So he looked like he was freezing and cold, and he was like, that was the one thing that like was very prominent about like his body, was just that he was freezing. And obviously I didn't tell him what that house used to be like, because once he told me that he looked cold, I was like, that's weird. That's suspicious,
Wow.
Like, isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Like, So I guess whoever was, taking care of the icebox, he's still chilling around there.
Yeah, maybe he fell asleep in the icebox.
Yeah. I don't know. Isn't that weird, though?
Yeah.
So uncomfortable.
Ugh. Ugh. That
Right?
is so, like,
You're already seeing a man, an actual human being ghost. That's already scary enough. I couldn't imagine, on top of that, me putting it together, I was like, that makes a lot of sense.
right. Which then also, bears the question of ghosts and spirits. Clearly, if they want to make themselves, present
Known.
and seen, it's up to them to make themselves visible to human eye. But then what was the point? What was his reasoning of making himself visible if he wasn't communicating anything?
Yeah, I don't know either. When my grandfather used to watch TV downstairs in the living room, there was a short period of time he told me that there was my grandmother had a 2-chair kind of setup for the living room, so it was a TV and then 2 of those kind of movie recliners.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that late at night he would just watch TV and we would be upstairs. Late at night, an older man would join him, sitting next to him every day, watching TV. A ghost. Obviously it freaked my grandfather out at first, but it literally happened every day. And he said the ghost never bothered him, never looked at him, but would just sit down in the chair. Ooh, this gives me the chills. Would sit down in the chair with him and just watch TV. I think we need to do a paranormal investigation at my grandmother's house. Put it on the to-do list.
Yeah, if anyone out there listening is a paranormal investigator,
Yeah.
please DM Dan.
Yeah, please DM me and let's cleanse this house together.
Yeah.
Because I'm tired of it.
I'm going to wrap up this segment with one more story. I think we have to give What Would You Do, I think, the ixnay for this week because we have so many good stories to tell.
We do.
If you guys want, we can put our What Would You Do questions up on our social media. And if you want, comment to us, what would you do in those situations? We tailored them to paranormal activity type of questions.
I'm intrigued to listen to your responses,
So we're going to post
guys.
those. Please let us know how you would respond to those. Again, Dear Diary 88.9 on Instagram. We're going to throw those on there. But one more to close out this segment. I actually got a voice memo this morning over Snapchat from a listener. It's funny because I posted something on my personal Snapchat, just a selfie saying hey, if anyone has any paranormal ghost stories I can tell on my radio show, please tell me. And this dude that I met once in the 7th grade and have not really spoken to him pretty much since, slid up and goes, I have one, and also, when can I see you? Right. So, for the show, I answered him. Normally, I would not answer to a message like that. I would just completely ignore it. But I answered, and I said, what's your story? And that's it. I completely disregarded the second part.
Yeah.
And he actually ended up sending me a voice memo. And basically what the story was is, unfortunately, his grandfather passed away. And I guess shortly after he passed away, one night he was laying in bed, I guess going to sleep, and him and his brother heard a weird noise. And he then saw at the foot of his bed was this ghostly figure sitting on his bed, and he could tell that it was his grandfather because he was tall and lanky. He had the same body shape.
I have the chills right now. That's so crazy.
Part of his left arm was missing, and part of his grandfather's left arm was missing. I don't know the story
Yeah,
behind
yeah.
that, whether it was like amputated or like cut off, whatever. But he just knew that it was his grandfather, and he kind of just sat there with him and kind of gave him a little like pat on the back, got up, walked out of the room, and he never saw him again. But he felt like that was his grandfather's goodbye to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
First of all, you had me teared up, so thanks. I don't like to tear up this early. And wow, that's really scary.
Yeah.
But also comforting at the same time. I
Right.
think I would be terrified, but happy if that, like, I would be happy and terrified at the same time. I'd be happy that, like, my grandfather came to visit me, but terrified that I see a ghost.